Okay, hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ryan Embry. I am the brand ambassador here at Travel Media Group. Want to start off by thanking everyone for taking the time to join me on this webinar this afternoon. I am very excited to share the presentation with you all. Now, at the end of this webinar, we'll be providing my direct contact information in case you had any follow-up questions with the presentation that I'm going to be sharing today. You can also use the chat feature, which is located right there in your toolbar to type any sort of questions or feedback. I will be responding to those questions personally following the conclusion of the webinar. Also, be on the lookout since today's presentation will feature an interactive poll and would absolutely love your participation in it. So let's go ahead and get started and learn how understanding guest sentiment can help you improve your hotel property. So I figured today we would start by talking about how hoteliers are reading their properties' online reviews. And the funny thing is that most hoteliers today are reading the reviews the same exact way that travelers read reviews. The first thing that we all pay attention to is the score. That is what a review is, right? It's a personal rating of a product, or in this case, an experience at your hotel. The next thing that we all read is the title. The review title is that short synopsis of what we can expect within the review itself. And finally, lastly, we read the review content, detailing and justifying that score and also expanding on the title of the review. But what if I told you hoteliers are reading these online reviews completely the wrong way? They're reading reviews totally backwards. Hoteliers should not be reading reviews like travelers at all. Travelers read reviews and their review score first because they are looking for information to influence their booking decision. Hoteliers should be looking at the review content, not the score. It is the content that is ultimately determining what the review's overall score is. In other words, if we fix the content, you fix the score. And that is exactly what this webinar is going to be all about today. So how do we start identifying problems within our review content to start correcting them and raising our hotel's online reputation scores? Well, let's start with this 3.5-star review, which reads, "We arrived late at night and the lobby was very dark and not inviting. They need to look at making the lobby more modern and appealing. Luckily, the employee behind the front desk was very friendly and welcoming. We were super tired when we got to the room. The room itself was nice and spacious, but the bathroom was very outdated and tiny. The next morning, we enjoyed breakfast downstairs. It was awesome and delicious. My son loved the waffles. You cannot beat the location of this property. It's close to everything, restaurants and attractions. The young lady at the front desk was super helpful and gave us some great suggestions for dinner. Other than the lobby and the bathroom, we really enjoyed our stay. This property is definitely worth the price and plan to come back the next time we are in town." Now, we can see that there is a lot of positive content within this review, but based on that 3.5 score, we know that there were also some issues that the guest experienced. So today, I'm going to introduce an illustration of how identifying and fixing these issues can impact overall review rating and score. So for this review, we saw multiple mentions within the content of the hotel's great and exceptional customer service. Phrases like friendly and welcoming employee, super helpful, and gave great suggestions for dinner are all signals that service played a big part in the positive rating given by the traveler. So we're going to illustrate service as a balloon, helping lift the traveler's online review rating. But that was not the only positive sentiment found in this review. The guests also really loved breakfast, which, as we all know, is a key component in the hotel industry, commenting on how their son really enjoyed those awesome and delicious waffles. Location was also positively mentioned, talking about the hotel's proximity to both restaurants and nearby attractions. And last and most importantly, value. If travelers do not perceive your hotel as a good value, your property really could be in some serious trouble. Luckily, in this review, the guest gave the hotelier and other travelers plenty of signs that they perceived their stay as a good value, mentioning that the property was definitely worth the price and they plan to come back the next time they're in town. But as we mentioned before, there were also several negative sentiments expressed within the body of this review. Let's look at those tags. It's negative sentiment that brings down a review's rating like a weight weighing down a bar. In this case, the lobby was mentioned several different times throughout the traveler's review in a negative light, commenting that the lobby was really dark and uninviting, and even suggested modernizing the area to make it more appealing to travelers. But it wasn't just the lobby that was the only problem. The bathroom was described also as very tiny and outdated. So as we take a look at this animation, we see that there was clearly enough positive sentiment to make this a perfect 5-star stay and experience. The traveler thought the service was top-notch. They really enjoyed the convenient location of the property, thought the breakfast was delicious, and felt the overall experience was a really good value. But when we attach the negative sentiments or weights to this review rating and score, we see the overall score get pulled down to a 3.5. So again, as I stated at the beginning, fix the content, we fix the score. So let's say after identifying this issue, the hotelier updates the lighting and some furniture in the lobby to make it look a little bit more inviting and appealing for future guests. Well, with the negative sentiment and weight of the lobby disappearing, the positive sentiment is able to lift the review rating even higher, increasing to a 4.0 overall score, and increasing the likeliness of other travelers choosing to book at this hotel. But this was only one single review. There are dozens of online review sites with thousands of reviews being posted every single day. So how do we dive into guest sentiment for every single review to make meaningful changes at the property that are going to have major revenue generating implications? Well, first, let's take a look at what this would look like on a global scale. This is an illustration of a property's overall reputation and star rating, looking at not just the sentiment of one individual, but the sentiment of all of this hotel's guests over the span of all online review sites. Now, the guest sentiment is averaged out and determined whether that tag is helping raise that overall review score, a balloon, or lower it like a weight. The overall star rating for this hotel is a 4.1 out of 5 stars. Now, for most hotels, they would be happy with this score. But what if we could identify for the hotel just few small things that, if fixed, like housekeeping or noise, could increase their score even higher? Let me show you an example of how. Now, if we were able to identify these weights that are weighing down this hotel's overall reputation score, the hotelier could then implement fixes like retraining the housekeeping staff, perhaps providing earplugs at the front desk to help cancel out some of the noise level complaints, putting money towards a major capital improvement like renovations of the pool area, or even doing small capital investments like updating the lobby decor or lighting. Without having this information and knowing what is truly keeping guests from having a 5-star experience at the property, hoteliers are just spending their time, energy, and money in the dark, hoping they get lucky, fixing something that might not be as big of a factor or weight as they think. But why stop there? In hospitality, it's our mission to provide travelers with a 5-star experience, the highest level of satisfaction at our hotel. So why are we only focusing on what is wrong instead of trying to improve further on what's going right? In other words, why aren't we filling our balloons even more to help our hotel's reputation even higher? For example, we see that breakfast is barely scoring above our average overall review score. If we identify that a hotelier could be proactive and try minor menu changes to improve that score even higher. The same is true for service. So instead of doing a major overhaul to the staff or major training, why not conduct a small refresher course in an attempt to improve those service scores? We see that value is scoring is one of the strongest tags for this property. Lean on that by sharing 5-star reviews on social media that comment about the great value that this hotel offers. Location is also a strong sentiment for the property. Leverage that by building local partnerships with area restaurants, attractions, and sharing views on social media. It's by knowing what your strengths are where you can find creative ways to leverage and improve your overall reputation and score even more. And it's in a combination of both fixing the bad and sharpening the good that you will see your overall review scores improve drastically. And that's where we at Travel Media Group come along. With our sentiment analysis tool, we are able to identify these tags for you and uncover what parts of your hotel are working as balloons and improving your overall online reputation, and what parts of the hotel are acting as weights, hurting your scores and decreasing your chance of booking conversion. Our sentiment reporting is so powerful and detailed that the last slide that you saw doesn't even represent a third of the amount of tags that we score on online reviews. Our review response team has more than 45 tags that they identify and score for hoteliers, so that each property has the most accurate and comprehensive reporting in the industry. We show the frequency of each tag, the tag trend over time, and the average tag rating in comparison to the average review score. We can even go as far as pinpointing and displaying specific reviews that mention each tag across all different online review sites. And this is all done and included within our Respond and Resolve solution, where we have 100% review response rate within 48 hours on all of these major online review sites that you see here. So I really want you to ask yourself, if I were to give you a list of almost 50 different aspects of your hotel, could you go through that list and identify which ones are making the biggest impact? Could you tell me with absolute certainty, if these 5 things were fixed, my hotel's reputation score would raise by this much? Or could you identify the top 5 aspects of your hotel that guests love the most about your property? Or would it just be a guess? And if that's the case, we can help. There's too much data out there today for hoteliers just to be guessing on such important revenue-generating decisions. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and launch our poll, which today's poll is going to ask if you'd like one of our sentiment strategists to schedule an online review consultation for your hotel, kind of figuring out, what are those balloons that are helping raise your overall reputation, and maybe uncover some weights that might be pulling down that reputation. And as I give everyone an opportunity to find that poll and engage in it, I'll go ahead and mention that we will be sending out a copy of this recording to you shortly. If you ask any questions during today's presentation, I will be following up with you shortly afterwards. And you can always find our webinar presentations on our YouTube page, Travel Media Group. So I'll give everyone just a couple more seconds to find that poll and engage in it. Awesome. Let me go ahead as promised. Here is my direct contact information in case you feel more comfortable reaching out to me. I want to thank everyone for taking the time. Before we take off, I did want to mention we have our last webinar of 2019, which is crazy to say. 2020 is right around the corner. Really excited about this webinar. We're going to be talking about how we can take templated copy-paste response and turn them into unique, creative online review responses. So be sure to join us for that one. We'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much for joining and have a fantastic rest of your week.